Alright guys, so first of all, let me just say, I want to commend Nick Blackwell for a tremendous display of heart and courage and determination. I mean, it was shocking stuff, man. The amount of heart and the amount of courage and resilience that this guy has is totally insane, and big up Nick Blackwell. And I also want to say, I want to commend the referee for stopping the fight when he did. Really responsible call by the referee, because, guys, Chris Eubank Jr., he was beating the fuck out of Nick Blackwell tonight. He was beating the fuck out of him. He was. Those uppercuts that Eubank Jr. was landing, they would have taken most guys. They would have taken most guys out. They would have. But Nick Blackwell, he's known for his chin. He's known for his toughness and his heart and his resilience. And he battled through it like a warrior. All credit to Nick Blackwell. Now, how did this fight go prior to the stoppage? First couple of rounds were pretty close. Nick Blackwell was on the front foot with a high guard, trying to walk Eubank Jr. down. Eubank Jr. was just moving around, boxing, using feints, looking pretty skilled. But then by about the third or fourth round, Eubank Jr. started ducking low on the inside. Using his shoulders and his forearms, defensively, really slick, and really digging in those uppercuts, man. And once he found a home for those uppercuts, the fight was over. You knew it, because he was timing Nick Blackwell on the way in. He was capitalizing on Nick Blackwell's stiff high guard, and he was just shooting those uppercuts through the middle. While Blackwell had the tight guard, trying to block punches that were coming at him straight, Eubank Jr. would just winging those uppercuts, and Blackwell just didn't have the defensive skill, the defensive capabilities to handle it. Eubank Jr. also, was throwing some really nice hooks to the body. He showed a real mean streak in this fight, a lot of killer instinct. He would hit Blackwell with some uppercuts. He would turn around and talk to Billy Joe Saunders at ringside. It was crazy stuff, man. And that's the kind of stuff that his dad used to do. His dad was known for that kind of showmanship. A lot of people don't like it, but he's just showing off. That's what he does. He's a young guy. He's really confident, and to be fair to him, this was a really good performance. I do think that Nick Blackwell, although Nick Blackwell is a tough guy, he is a commendable opponent. I do think that technically Nick Blackwell is pretty limited. I think that the way that he was just walking forward with that tight guard, he was just so easy to get round that guard and get those uppercuts in and those hooks to the body. And I just think that Nick Blackwell, he needs, if he's going to continue on with his career, because we don't know after this, if he's going to continue on with his career, he needs a trainer to teach him how to move his head and jostle for position inside. And while you've got that tight guard, you can't just sit behind it. You have to sometimes make it a cross guard, and sometimes bend at the waist and stuff like that. You can't just come forward looking to block punches, because then this is going to happen. You're going to get an opponent that finds a way round the guard. They're going to wing the punches round, and they're going to dig those uppercuts through. And you can't get away with fighting with that tight guard all the time. You need to mix it up. You need to be more defensively aware. I mean, there were times in this fight where Eubank Jr. was dropping his hands and sticking his chin in the air, and he knew that he wasn't going to take anything clean, because while Blackwell was behind that tight guard, just standing there trying to block punches, he's what's the word I want to use? He's handicapping himself. He's handicapping himself offensively. Like, he's ignoring his own offense just to try and block punches. When really, sometimes, it's not a bad idea to drop your hands at times, because if you're on the outside and your opponent's out of range, you don't want to just stand there with your hands up, because your opponent's just gonna capitalize on that. Your opponent knows that while you're playing defense, that peekaboo defense, there's nothing coming back. So your opponent's just gonna let their hands go, like Eubank Jr. was. Eubank Jr. was able to just push Blackwell up to the ropes and just let those uppercuts and hooks go, and there was nothing coming back. And Eubank Jr. obviously grew in confidence. Now, after the referee stopped the fight, he stopped the fight because Blackwell obviously just couldn't defend himself. Those uppercuts were beating his head in the whole night. He had a broken nose, and he had some pretty bad swelling around his eye. So the referee made the right call in stopping the fight. But after the fight was stopped, while the doctor was examining Nick Blackwell, I think Nick Blackwell he took a turn for the worse, and then they actually took him out on a stretcher and were giving him oxygen. So I hope that Nick Blackwell is okay. I'm hoping and praying that there's no lasting damage there. Will he continue his career? Personally, I don't know, because when you get taken out on a stretcher, it's you need to think about your health. You don't want to be jumping back into the ring too soon. He needs to take at least a year off, I think, to try and recover mentally. And as I said before, if he is going to continue his career, he needs a trainer to teach him defense. Maybe hire somebody like Adam Booth. I don't know. Somebody that's going to teach you to use feints and drop your hands at times and mix it up defensively. Move your head. Swivel at the waist. Try and be a bit more fluid with the way that you fight, because to me, he looked too stiff and too rigid in there, and a fighter like Eubank Jr. can easily capitalise on that. Now, Billy Joe Saunders had a lot to say at ringside here. And do you know what? I thought that Billy Joe, he broke down the fight pretty well. Billy Joe, in his interview, he was talking about how pretty much similar things to what I've said in this video. He was saying that, look, Blackwell defensively wasn't doing a good job, but he was fighting with heart and determination, but there wasn't really much tact, there wasn't really much technique. And that's very true. Billy Joe Saunders was right in what he was saying. And he was saying that he has, he's very confident that in a rematch with Eubank Jr., he would outbox him and win again, just like he did last time. Because, he obviously knows that, he obviously knows what to do, because in the first fight, he was able to shut Eubank Jr. down in the first 5 or 6 rounds. So, and he talked about how he allowed Eubank to get back into the fight later, by when he slowed down and he was got a little bit overconfident himself. But I felt that Billy Joe was right in what he was saying, and I do think that if Billy Joe Saunders and Eubank do have a rematch soon, I will be picking Billy Joe to beat Eubank, because I just think that in terms of technique and boxing skill, it's just not a comparison. Billy Joe, although I do think that Eubank is a far better athlete than Billy Joe Saunders. I've always thought that. I still think that. I just think that in terms of technique, I think Billy Joe is far superior to Eubank Jr., and I think he'd outbox him again. Unfortunately, because of the injuries that Blackwell sustained in this fight, we weren't able to see the Hughie Fury fight. I wanted to see that. Hughie Fury was supposed to be fighting Dominic Gwynn. I don't know if the fight actually happened or not, but we didn't get to see it on TV, so I don't know. I'll have a look online after this. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to see that fight. Never got a chance to. They showed a few replays from earlier on in the night. They showed the Frank Buglioni fight. I always felt that Frank Buglioni would do a lot better at light heavyweight. Even a couple of years ago when he was working his way through the ranks, I always felt that if he were to move up in weight, he would be more effective. Because, he seemed to be draining himself to try and make 168. And you saw in the Chudinov fight too, he looked a bit lethargic and he got totally schooled. But this fight he had tonight was at light heavyweight. And the opponent he fought, I know it was a total journeyman, but it was a pretty durable journeyman. He is pretty durable. It was quite impressive the way that Buglioni just overpowered him in the first round and just got him out of there quickly. I think Buglioni looked pretty good, and I look forward to seeing what he can do at light heavyweight. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I'm out.